And Ms. Rekha Lalla, Head Green Campus Program, the Climate Reality Project, Ms. Harshita Srivastava, a permaculture designer, and Mr. Nadeem Qadri, an environmental lawyer and also a friend.
Indeed.
And of course, all the wonderful young students and their teachers from across India. So before I start, let's take a quick recap of day one's ideations. And that was really, really very important. And Bhavesh sir had particularly asked me to talk about it. So just going back 2 days back, you remember, children, we had Mr. Sheelam Seth, and he highlighted the 6-sector solution to the climate crisis. Remember? By giving us example of the Solar Gandhi and the girls from Bali who had made the government, moved basically the government into banning poly bags. And all the above, when supported by Mr. Aditya Pundir. But I especially, appreciate and applaud the fact on the role of positivity and hope, which was emphasized by Aditya ji. The scientific facts, yes, of climate change are depressing and threatening. We all know it. But we all have the ability just to take a U-turn and to reverse it now. So we need to believe in ourselves. And as students, my only request to all of you is every day, a little step takes us forward. So we need to adopt practices, which may not be convenient to us, but adopt them because they're good for the planet. Now, this is my mantra. It's not convenient for me, but good for the planet. So we'll have to choose, make a deliberate choice, right? And Mr. Bhavesh Swami interestingly came up with instances from the energy sector, if you remember, on grassroots level using solar technology right from the presswala to the curd churner and the solar platform, which took care of home energy needs along with the water pumps in the fields of Punjab. Really, really praiseworthy. And there were innovations galore in his presentations. My goodness, it was most motivating. And I'm 100% sure, students, that many of you would have harbored ideas for your projects from here, right? And of course, not forgetting Mr. Rahul Khera. I really applaud his efforts. His shift from corporate to the waste management is something to reckon, And yes, I can only say that, guys, follow your passion. Take up any assignment which fully supports you and your ideals. There's one thing which I want to really, really impress upon you all and say that, yes, waste management can be taken up as a career option. You've never thought about it, but yes. The video, especially the video, which was talking about the, the scavengers, which you couldn't hear properly because of some malfunctioning, and it was really heart-wrenching. It brought tears to many eyes, yeah? And in fact, I was discussing with Mr. Khera about drawing up SOPs for these workers. And that's really, really essential. And I think it should come forward in with a very few days. We are going to be working on it. Well, today is your day today, and I'm eagerly looking forward to new ideas from our guests. So without much delay, I request Ms. Rekha Lalla from the Climate Reality Project to welcome our esteemed audience. And Ms. Lalla, for your benefit, she heads the Green Campus Program and is a CII certified expert in climate change and sustainability. She was also the head of the Terry Prakriti School, Gurugram, prior to joining the Climate Reality Foundation. So Ms. Lalla, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So on behalf of Climate Reality Project India and South Asia, I welcome all my young friends, those who are there, all of them eagerly watching us on, I think they have a setup and everything, and some of them on their own computers. All of you are welcome. And our esteemed guest today, Mr. Nadeem Qadri, he's a lawyer and sustainability partner. He is doing a lot on field. Not only that he's a lawyer, he's just following his passion for the environment and the kind of work you would see he's doing. And then we have another guest, Miss Harshita. And as she said, she's doing expert on permaculture. So I think welcome both of them. And Mr. Bhavesh Swami, he is the everything, as ma'am said, the Karta Dharta of the climate reality, this program, as well as other program also. He's really has got a lot of energy into everything. And that's what he's on lead on energy as a climate reality project foundation. He works there. And all the teachers, those who have joined, all the green teachers with the passion, we welcome everyone. I would I'd like to start with that. We are a most populous country. I think we have crossed China now. So 1.4 billion population we have. So I think for kids, all of you, those who are here, it has becomes very, very imperative and very, very important that we must watch our steps and check how much carbon, how much resources we are using from the environment, how much we are taking in case of water, how much waste we are generating, how much of energy we are using. I think every day lifestyle changes is very, very important. To check our carbon resource, I think carbon footprint of yours and then of your school is very, very important. So we have Green Campus program where we have audit system. So all the schools, I think there are 5 schools from the Shri Ram group, those who have completed and have been awarded by us. So first was the Kalyani School, Pune, and then the Shri Ram School, Jammu, the Shri Ram School, Noida, then Shri Ram School, Universal School, Hyderabad, and the last one was the Shri Ram Millennium School, Gurgaon. These were the schools, those who have completed the audit system and completed the audit report, submitted it to us, and they have been awarded also. So rest of the schools, though, of the Shri Ram group, if they have not joined us and have not completed the audit, I think it's time, high time you must do it. I think you can get in touch with Madhu ma'am. I see some chat. You are only able to hear. You image is not visible. That is Bhagya Lakshmi ma'am is saying from Hyderabad.
Yeah, that's better. That's better, ma'am. Now we can see you.
Okay. Now they can see me. These are the 5 schools. Again, I will repeat: the Kalyani School, Pune, the Shri Ram School, Jammu, the Shri Ram School, Noida, the Shri Ram School, Hyderabad, the Shri Ram Millennium School, Gurgaon. These are the 5 schools. Okay, you can see me. Okay, so these are the 5 schools, those who have completed and submitted the audit report, and they have been awarded, and we will be shortly giving them the trophy also. So one more thing I will request for all my young fellows. June is a month, very heavy, I think sunlight is there. All the, you eat mangoes, you eat jamun, you eat so many seeds. So keep collecting them and keep on drying them. So much of sunlight is there, you can easily dry them. And July is a month where you have rainfall. So much of rainfall. Wherever you find a place which they can grow, I think you can grow. Or you make your seed balls and take them along with you wherever you travel and throw them there. And that would help a biodiversity or create your fruit garden. So that's the small action you can take on your part. So yes, thank you so much. Over
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Really, really inspiration and good idea of making seed bombs. And just want to all the Shri Rams, which you can see on the screen, are all making right from the Pravesh Vatika. That's a 4-year-old has started collecting the seeds, making seed bombs in the month of May and April. And then it goes over in July for the throwing aspect, which they really go out. So that's wonderful. And I hope all the schools which are present today will opt for working on making their campuses green. And now I'm going to request Ms. Harshita Srivastava, who works as a permaculture designer and consultant, to share her innovative practices for reviving the wild. So you'll be happy to note that Mrs. Srivastava offers services to people, organizations in need of creating gardens and forests. Wow. That's inspiring. And that's wonderful. I mean, I can ask you to help me also. And it would be wonderful to learn about creating urban forests. And I wouldn't mind if you share with us something about the Miyawaki way also, the Japanese way, and how to do it in little space, in urban spaces. So over to you, ma'am, for your session on permacultural soil and students.
Okay. Hello, everyone. It is such a delight to be here in this moment and see so many students all across the nation being present. And I am really excited how this conversation takes over and what all seeds germinate in our heads, right? Because that's the important kind of seeding which should take place. So just to give you a little bit of background about myself, because maybe some of you will be able to relate to that. I am a professional fashion designer. By my profession, I graduated as a fashion designer. I was working as a fashion designer for a couple of years, till the time it really hit me that my design choices are not very healthy, because it's really damaging the environment, it's damaging people, it's not inclusive, but rather exclusive. And so at the age of, I don't know, 24 or something, or 23, I remember, I really could not work as a designer anymore. It made me guilty of my choices, which I had made, because I was at that time able to see that sustainability is important. And we as a design industry at that time were very, very, very inefficient. And that led me to questioning whether whatever I'm doing in life, is it really worthy enough for me to do it? So then I decided to leave it all and learn about reforestation. Just wanted, because see, I see permaculture is a great tool for me to design every second of my life. And why is it a great tool for me to design every second of my life? We will come to that in a short presentation, because of the defining factors about permaculture. It's a very new term, we have heard of horticulture and this and that, but permaculture is nothing like that. And it's a very different terminology, not very common in India. So I'm really glad to share more about that with you, because maybe something clicks in you and you resonate with it. Why I was sharing my failure of design as a fashion designer with you is because there is never too late. To the moment you get a consciousness that in life, what you thought makes sense is not making sense anymore. It's never too late to then move on and brings more passion to you. Yeah. So always, I mean, we, especially in schools, we worry so much about how our life is going to shape up. But I tell you this with great pride and with great comfort, that life shapes up just fine. So trust your instincts, and the more you go inside, the better you will be. That was not so much on permaculture, but I just felt like I need to share this with school children, because they do go through a lot of stress. I think more than all of us adults, probably, because we pressurize you a lot, right? So let's go to, I would like to share a very small presentation, and then Ms. Madhu, I would like to come back to Miyawaki way of forestry also. But first, I will start with sharing. It's a very simple presentation, no rocket science, from my heart to yours. So let's see if I can share the screen.
Yes, ma'am, we have given the permissions. Just check that all is okay on your part.
Yes, just a moment. Give me the... All right, this is it. So before we start, my first question is, how do we love all children of all species? Something very crucial, which we as human beings need to understand, because somehow humans do revolve. We consider ourselves to be the center of the universe. Even if we are, then we are not the only living beings, right? So how do we really love all children of all species, be it a goat, be it a snake, be it a gecko, be it a lizard? Why is it important for us to love all children of all species? And this is a question, again, in form of a seed, which I want to put in your brains. Contemplate on it. How can we love all children of all species? How is it possible? I remember I was giving a talk somewhere, and when I raised this question, one person said to me, Well, yeah, but I'm scared of snake. I don't want to touch a snake baby and give him love. So, because we carry certain fears, right? But how exactly can we come out of our fear, and how can we do that in understanding the role each of the species playing in this ecosystem? That is very important. So our whole conversation today will revolve around not only permaculture or not only soil regeneration. I think these are very specific topics. We will talk in a more broader sense so everybody can relate to it. And of course, if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy. You can have my website, write an email to me. I'll be happy to answer. And I think we have a Q&A session also, if I'm not mistaken. So this is my question to you. How do we love all children of all species? You think if you do love them already, or you don't? If you don't, then why you don't love all children of all species? This is a very beautiful picture, which I love. We were talking about solar panels, solar energy before. It has a beautiful little solar panel on a little hut, little pond, lots of trees, a windmill, so many things, huh? And even a rainbow. So this picture and an owl sitting on the house. So this picture can be considered sort of permaculture. It's difficult to find the right picture which really defines permaculture, but we will come to that. But how beautiful it looks, right, kids? I'm sure many of you would love to live like this, to at least go on vacations. We do, right? When we are tired, we tell our parents, okay, let's go somewhere. We end up going to nature places, whether we go to Kashmir or to Goa or to Pondicherry. Pondicherry doesn't have so much of nature, but but we really crave for being, or in Western Ghats, we go to so many places where we feel at peace. So feeling at peace is important. And why is nature connected to you feeling at peace? We will also discover that. So let's read a bit about permaculture. This is my own definition of permaculture. Permaculture is a design science which works towards creating resilient working circular systems, starting with observing and mimicking nature. Permaculture has its ethics and principles as its defining values. So to shed a little bit of light about what is permaculture, permaculture is made up of two words, permanent culture. It started as an anarchist movement in 1970s by its founders, David Holmgren and Bill Mollison, Bill Mollison being the main founder of it. And they started it as permanent agriculture because they wanted to really study the indigenous ways of agriculture and indigenous way of living. So Aborigine Australia, Tasmania, yeah, is where it started there. So they really wanted to study the Aborigine cultures, and so it started with permanent agriculture, and then eventually it they realized how big the subject is and how amazing it is and how big of an umbrella it is. Then it became permanent culture. So there are certain words which are used, and I'm sure nowadays science includes them in your textbooks as well. But if not, so working circular systems is anyways, anything which comes a full circle is a circular working system, right? Be it your food cycle, not today's generation's food cycle, but the food cycle we were taught in science books. You remember that little image where, a frog is eating so and so and so, and then eventually the predator dies and becomes soil again and feeds the plants. So permaculture has 3 ethics and 12 principles. However, it's an open source. So if you really go into it, you can define in your own values and principles related to it. We won't go very much in detail about this. Otherwise, the whole session will go into me talking about permaculture. What are the ethics are important, and I think you will relate to it as well. So the ethics of permaculture are earth care, fair share, people care. Earth care, we all know what it is. Earth is our mother. We hear about it in stories, we read about it, yet we are not connected enough to consider it our mother, right? Because we wouldn't treat Earth the way we do if we really thought it was our mother. People share is the second very beautiful term. I don't personally like using it because for me it's more than people. So I put it like all beings care, all sentient and non-sentient beings, all living organisms, visible and invisible both. They all deserve to live a quality life in their lifespan. So we focus on caring for all. And fair share, very important, right? It can never be unfair share, which in today's world, I mean, we are quite unfair with the way things are being distributed, with the way money is being capitalized. So there are so many things which we can point out, and systems are not working, right? Systems are failing, but we are clinging on to them. So fair share is an important and crucial part of permaculture, that everything gets distributed properly. So this is a little bit about permaculture. Next slide is okay. Then it's important now. I can tell you, okay, permaculture is great, and maybe some of you do get the privilege of, the seed balls which you have made to put them on the lands you find, and they will grow into beautiful trees. But a lot of us also don't end up having those privileges, especially if we are in cities where you don't have a lot of green patches, or you don't have spaces to have green patches. Rather, you have concrete patches, right? How can you bring not only permaculture, but this conscious way of living in your life? That's important to understand. So that's what I would talk about next. So we've all studied, and correct me if I'm wrong, when I was in school, we used to have 3 hours of what was it? Recycle, reuse, reduce, right? Those were the 3 hours before. Has it changed into more hours, or still there are 3 hours in the science books?
You keep on adding the R's. Responsibility, recover.
Yes, so that's a good thing, actually. So important. R's should always keep on adding. Y's should be added. Z's should be added. So in the next slide revolves a bit around that. So there are some R's, you can, again, this is, instead of 3 hours, make 50 hours, make your own hours, guys. It is so empowering and so cool to do it. And you will be amazed how much conscious you become by doing so. So here are some of the R's, right? Remember is very important one. Each time you're stepping out of your house, remember to carry a bag with you. Remember to carry your water bottle. Remember to carry things which you will need if you're buying for, I don't know, grocery shopping. Maybe children don't do it, but you're going somewhere, carry a bag. It helps. It helps. And only when you remember, you can refuse also. Remember what you already have, no? Because the marketing, the world out there is so strong that you go to buy one thing, we come back home, and all of us do that. Huh? We are all culprits there. We bring back 50 things which we don't require. So say no, refusing is important. If you have something, you don't need to add it. So questioning those things is very important. Reusing things as much as you can. Reduce your consumption of certain things. Recycling is an important R. Respect is an important R. If somebody's telling you they do not require something, you don't force them to get it for themselves. So respect, very important. Repair, I mean, we should all be engineers in our mind, because I think we are naturally born that way. So find your own ways to repair things. Maybe you fail, maybe you succeed, but it's a good practice to have anyways. One thing important to understand is another R, which I think got forgotten here, is rot. Rotting is very important, and that's something which is not talked about a lot. So more than 50% of organic landfill in India is, more than 50% of the landfill in India is organic. And each household generates, I think, around, on an average, it was 1 or 2 kilos every day of organic landfill. So how can you, organic landfill meaning, your food waste and things which, the liquid waste. So how can you rot it into making compost instead of dumping it in a landfill, which, because we often throw something out of our house, not thinking where it will end up. And that has been a cycle in human minds very strong, that we have never really completed the cycle, that where will it end up, what will happen to it, how many years it will take to decompose, right? And these are all the burning topics now, thanks to climate change, that we are actually talking about it. So rotting is important. If you need a little crash course on composting, you contact me, okay? Then we compost together. But it's important, crucial, beautiful thing to do. Rot is important. Another thing now I want to ask a question is, before we ask the question actually, so some examples of sustainable design practices is important, right? Because we can talk and talk, but if we are not showing you how to live it, it's really useless, because then it again becomes a lesson and you don't imply it in your practical life. So it is important to understand like how you can carry your own bag each time you go out. Also important to understand how you can minimize the things you do. So we all love shopping, right? It has become such a big part of our city lives. It has become a crucial element almost. Saying no to when you don't need it. There are beautiful in Europe, you have them a lot. They are called swap shops. Swap shops are places, and in India also, at least I know 2 places which have it. In South India, in Auroville, there are 2 stores which do it. Swap shops are places where you can go with your clothes which you don't wear, or you don't want to wear. Basically, you're tired of, and instead you take somebody else's clothes, which you would like. So again, what you're doing is you are not cutting down on your fashion, but you're cutting down on the production. Buying another new piece of clothing, you're reusing the old, and it's important, right? So that's a beautiful example, and there are these kind of shops or thrift shops we already know. I mean, now in India also they're popping up. There are some beautiful ones. I remember I was in Kenya a couple of years back, and they have these Gikombas where they do get a lot of, and you get really good quality clothes for very cheap. So encourage those practices, right? Because they're important. And also when you're doing these things, you're supporting local vendors. So that's important. Where your food is coming from, if you have the luxury and privilege to get it from an organic supermarket, great. But if not, then again, like what practices can you do to be comfortable with it? Do you know any farmers around you who can produce for you organically? Instead of, again, so you directly buy from them, not necessarily from a place where you have to pay a lot of money to get it because it's exclusive, right? It's a brand. Organic is a big brand now. How can we really finish and close the circle? So those things are very important. And my next question to you is really a thinker, because I think it's very important and we all do it and we don't spend enough time or mind about it. But so the next is, are you consuming out of need or you're consuming out of greed? It's a very deep one. Let it sink in. Whatever you're buying, whatever actions you're taking, are they really out of need or greed? You know, I studied fashion. As a designer, I'm told that when you're studying it, that design is finding solutions to problems. Yet we fashion designers don't really find solutions anymore. We are just creating new clothes so people can, look good in it. So really, really question whatever steps you're taking in life, where it's coming from, and you're really consuming or you're buying or you're, taking, if you're buying a pen, we all use pen. Is it important for you then to really keep on buying the same pen again, or can you get a refill? Even the basic thing like that. Because if you, somebody was also talking about the waste management, it's a great area to explore, really great area to explore. So there is a unit in Auroville, it's in south of India, called Eco Services. They have 83 different kinds of waste segregations. 83 different kinds of waste segregations. So in your pen is not only plastic, but in your pen, there is also metal, right? And then the plastic is also of different kinds. So your pen in itself as a component, when you throw it, if it's been done properly, it will be segregated into 3 to 4 different categories based on the type of pen and its body. So just by reusing a refill instead of, throwing up the pens, maybe you are creating a big change, but you are unaware of it. So similarly, little things, if you really start watching your little steps, the big steps will happen. We don't see them because it's out of our proximity, but these little things really bring a change in the world, and I stand very strongly with it. It's not about the government changing its policies. It would be great if the governments of the world become conscious enough to really listen to climate crisis, but we cannot blame them or anybody else, but really our steps, and those steps need to be tiny, they need not big. So this is a quotation by David Holmgren, the founder of permaculture. And I love this quotation. So he was in a meeting and he said something very beautiful. He said, in the end, we don't know if we are right, because who sees? Right and wrongs are perspectives, aren't they? But it's more fun this way anyway. And I think all the people who are closer to nature will completely agree, and we dance out of this, really, that it's such a joy to, to question ourselves, to be our own critiques, to understand our own behavior patterns, and then to assess that and do things in a better way. I mean, Dalai Lama says, no, you have your own principles. If you find better ones, change them. So I think, yeah, we should always be open to changing. I would end this presentation with this quotation, which again is a seed for thought. Tell me, what is it you want to do with your one wild and precious life? And how do I? Okay, wait, I'm very bad at not knowing how to stop sharing. Okay, perfect. So sorry, it was a very basic presentation because a lot of the things we really want to do, it really revolves around, our actions and day-to-day actions. Every single thing you do has a consequence, good and bad both. So you choose what you want to do, right? Because everything you do, no matter what you do, consequences are there, and be them good or bad, they're always going to be there. So be mindful of the consequences and then choose wisely. Life and world will become really a beautiful place to live. And if we really live, if we live with questioning our own selves, if we create our own values, if we do not believe what your textbook says to you, do not believe, sorry, schools, but do not believe what others tell you. Find your own experiences. They are crucially important. Understand it. Like when I was studying science in my school, I was terrible. Like I could never understand geography. And today I work with geography. And how did that happen? When I started working on the field. So make your own experiences. Nothing is boring. It's so amazing to work with nature, without nature, whatever really is close to your heart, whatever you choose to do. We are all climate people sitting here talking about climate too. You need not to become a climate activist necessarily. You can continue doing what your passion is, but how can you be mindful doing that? And how can you bring this awareness into your work system? That's very important, because you are one mindful seed they have. And then that is where the revolution begins. That's where the change begins. And you're the change makers, right? It's not us. It is you. You are the youth of this world. You are going to bring great value and great diversity and great ecosystems back. And I really believe that. So, Miyawaki forest, as you were mentioning. So it's a great forestry system where you plant a lot of species together, a lot of plants together in a very dense setting. And then the strong ones survive. See, Miyawaki is a great forest system, not applicable for every place. And same goes with permaculture also. So with nature, we cannot have a blueprint. That's important to understand. With nature, there is no blueprint. What succeeds in one place may completely fail in the other. So that's why the first principle of permaculture, and that should be the first principle of our lives, is observe and then interact. So first you observe. Before pointing fingers at others, look within. observing and then finding the problem or source or cause and then interacting and changing. So Miyawaki is great. It works in certain places, amazing. And in some places it has failed also. But that is not to blame Mr. Miyawaki. I think he's great.
Yeah,
It's just that people blindly followed what he said, or people blindly follow Masanobu Fukuoka. If some of you children are interested about farming, Masanobu Fukuoka, I will write it in the chat, is an important figure to know about, really important person to know about. And read his book, One Straw Revolution. It will really change your way of thinking. So yeah, but they are amazing regenerating practices. Miyawaki forest. I myself make them, but not in every place.
all right. So thank you so much, Harshita ji. It was wonderful. Your talk was put in such simple words, so beautifully. It was like an ethereal experience, let me tell you. It was like walking in the clouds, and thank you for seeding our brains with new aspects, what you have talked about. And yeah, we are going to work on our experiences and then create our work experiences and then create our possibilities. Yeah, so thank you so much. And I'm sure the children have a lot to ask you. And now looking forward to the next speaker, Mr. Nadeem Qadri. It's wonderful to have you this morning.
Thank you very much indeed.
As we said earlier, he's an environmental lawyer at the Honorable High Court of Srinagar. And in addition to this, he's working at the development of Nature University. Wow.
True.
That's at Pampore in association with global partners and local think tank environment policy groups. We also, because I was talking to Bhavesh and I said, yes, what is he going to speak to us on as a lawyer? And as you have a lot to speak on as a naturalist. So, but there's something, which we children need to know, students need to know, that taking out morchas, rallies on the, streets can bring about a change in the policies, but I don't think so. And am I right, Mr. Qadri?
Some sort of disagreements and agreements, which I will be definitely adding to my argument.
Yeah. Surely. And there is a forward march and towards environmental protection, the rightful way. And, I'm looking forward to hear you speak on that. So thank you so much. And please go ahead, sir.
First of all, my congratulations to the wonderful team of the Climate Reality Foundation and all of you who have given an opportunity to listen from a lawyer's point of view and the nature conservation. Firstly, so much, I'm so excited to see the wonderful students from different parts of the country listening so patiently about the idea of how they can become the champions of nature, how they can become the guardians of nature, and how they can become the green ambassadors. I have never, ever a doubt in my mind that if we are united for the conservation of nature, we will fail. Because at the end, you have the nature's support to make sure that you fulfill your dreams, objectives, and largely contribute something for a larger good. I was so happy to hear Harshita speaking about the wonderful journey she had. She left from the fashion, entered into the permaculture. There are a lot of similar stories. I may not say that I have left my advocacy and I have entered into the farming or nature university or nature conservation, but definitely there is something called an nature connect. We call it nature network. It attracts those like-minded people who have wonderful ideas, but they are not able to contribute towards the sustainability because they have lack of resources. But nature has its own mechanism of using the ambassadors to make sure that the balance and the equilibrium is maintained. And I think we are just the players into that balancing equilibrium. And all these kids who are listening to these conversations are definitely having a dream to contribute towards the nature conservation. And that's what, when we were discussing about that, how we can add value to the lives and make them more comfortable, make them more professional in terms of environmental greenery around. So it is very important to also understand that it is our responsibility, not only in terms of the constitutional responsibility to the citizens, but it is the responsibility of the intergenerational equity. What I'm doing today with my natural resources will have a direct impact on the children who are listening to this conversation. So we have to be very wiseful in telling them that yes, they can be the ambassadors of change. They can be the ambassadors of the idea where they can bring nature close to themselves. Even a small flower pot with an honeybee coming and visiting, that is an element of nature. You may not have the lush green forests, mountains, glaciers, rivers, beautiful wetlands around, but a small flower pot with a flower and a honeybee visiting, that is itself an element of nature conservation at your own level. What is very important is that as a lawyer, when I entered into this profession, I felt it that I'm not a right person to argue on behalf of the people, because you have to have ultimately the clients. But what I observed, that I was a very different type of a person who was always related to environmental conservation. And trust me, I became the Jammu and Kashmir's first environmental lawyer, full-time environmental advocate, practicing at the Honorable High Court. And it was very much a passion-driven advocacy. I was not forced by anyone to argue the environmental cases. Even the Honorable Chief Justice of Jammu and Kashmir High Courts appreciated my contribution and appointed me as an amicus curiae for all the children who are trying to pursue their careers in the law or trying to wear this black coat with the black tie. Amicus curiae is a position given by the Honorable High Court for the reason that I should assist the Honorable Court for the environmental public interest litigations. Have been being said that we have been arguing on behalf of rivers, wetlands, water bodies, wildlife species, which cannot come to the court. The court has to take their interest into the consideration. And from last 10 years, we are fighting rigorously on behalf of the nature. Actually, I'm the nature advocate. I don't have clients. I have the nature as my client, and I argue on behalf of nature because we have, to defend the nature in the court also. So that is one of the important part of my professional journey. But as all kids who are in 8th class, 9th class, 10th class, it was the same journey. I was also not a backbencher, nor a front bencher, but I was somewhere sitting in the middle in my classrooms and fighting for my own consciousness where I belong. And when I became the youngest sort of an environmental ambassador, I had a dream at my school level that I should contribute something for wildlife conservation. I should contribute something for my state animal. I should contribute something to my beautiful migratory birds, which were visiting our wetlands of Pampur. So, from my childhood, I was passionate, I was committed, I was having love for nature, and that is the one of the reasons that when I turned from environmental campaigner to an environmental activist to an environmental professional, means at the Honorable High Court, the journey still did not satisfy my inner ego. I was still trying to do more. I was still trying to find my way out to do something for nature. And trust me, during my law training, I was being trained, and I had been trained in an order that uh, the trees, the beautiful streams, the beautiful mountains cannot come to the Chief Justice and argue that they are being vandalized, they are being put under stress, they are being polluted. Somebody has to go to the court on their behalf. So I think it is the nature's call that you have been chosen for this job. You have been chosen and picked up from hundreds and thousands of advocates, thousands of people to do the nature's advocacy. And that is one of the reasons that we felt it, that every one of us should be the advocate for nature. Not like you have to have a law degree. No, you don't need. You see the Greta Thunberg, someone in the part of the Sweden doing Fridays for Future, sitting down key, we don't have to study, because what for we will study? We will become doctors, we'll become engineers, we'll become lawyers, we'll become professionals, we'll become MBAs. then when you don't have a clean water to drink, when you don't have a clean air to breathe, what is the fun of having all those degrees and those things which the school systems are promoting? So I had this sort of an commitment that if I am in the court, I should argue the nature, for the nature, on behalf of the nature. When I am outside the court, when it's called the free time, I should also contribute something. And for that reason, I must appreciate the wonderful presentation given by Harshita. And one thing which 2 hours I have added in Srinagar. Actually, mostly there is a 3 hour campaign, which every one of us know: reduce, recycle, and reuse. We added a 6 hour campaign in Srinagar, ensuring that we make the Srinagar one of the cleanest city in the country. So 6 hour campaign was launched by the municipal corporation, and those 3 hours are very much important, which we have added. Actually, one was thanks to Harshita, she added this refuse word, but 2 hours were missing actually from the larger campaign mode, which we have to rigorously follow, and from the legal point of view also. One is 1 hour is report. If you see any garbage anywhere being littered by someone, by anyone, by whomsoever, you have to use this hour of report. And I'm sure smartphones can be magical devices to make sure that you report. And this hour is also legally correct, because now you have the municipal corporation apps in which you can give a geolocation of the garbage and can get it reported to the government so that they clean it up. Trust me, I'm a lawyer. I'm an well educated in terms of my educational background. I have cleaned hundreds of hundreds of places just using this hour, taking a picture with a geo coordinate and then sending it to the commissioner, requesting, sir, can you please help us in removing this thing? Hundreds of places in Srinagar, we have got them cleaned up just because we have used this hour, which is report. The another hour, which is very important, I'm sure all of us, including the Climate Reality Foundation India, including the wonderful Shri Ram schools across country, must use this hour, which we have worked with the government, is the remove. This is the concept where you touch the fundamental ego of a person. You touch the fundamental ego of the legal jurisprudence, and you touch the very fundamental part of that key, this hour, which is remove. Wear gloves, wear masks, do something for nature. Don't wait. Even if you're reporting this to the government and they are not picking up this trash, please remove it and dispose it scientifically wherever you want to. This is a clear message, one, to the government, that it is our responsibility also, and the message to those egoistic people who still litter on the streets and make sure that somebody else will pick. We should not put an argument into it. We should remove it. I have, along with my team of green volunteers, might have organized more than 5,000 cleanup drives. I am also the consultant for Earth Day Network. Very recently, 22nd April, we observed the Earth Day all across the world. In Jammu and Kashmir, we declared the first green village inside Dal Lake as a plastic free. And it was only possible when they removed the garbage from their village. And it was the students, it was the elders, it was the female folk, it was the students who played a very strategic role in helping us in removing the garbage from the village. And it was declared as the first green village in the Dal Lake, inside the Dal Lake. As some students are from South India, the Central India, and the North India, I'm sitting here. So it's very, very important that you play your role at your own level. And I'm sure and excited that once we report or remove, there will be a drastic change in the society, and people will really appreciate that. Why I am wearing black coat and why I'm wearing a tie? There is a reason for it. Under the ethical code of the professional advocacy, when you are on duty, means you are on official duty, you must have your own dress code. That's what I'm asking. Why are you wearing your uniform? It might be an like we call it the schools have a different color codes. Schools have a different code of conduct. You have the clubs, you have the different school clubs, and uniform is something which brings you into a fundamental discipline. And that discipline is very important, not only for the nature conservation, for bringing some changes. And I'm sure that when we all will be joining hands together of the today's resolution, that we all want to be green ambassadors, we all want to be green volunteers. We are thousands of green minded individuals who can bring a drastic change, right from Coimbatore, right from Pondicherry, right from Kerala, right from Indore, which is one of the cleanest city and has qualified for more than 3-4 years. My point is that we all are responsible citizens, and we all have to be responsible towards nature. And that's what was my dream, that I must do something beyond my black coat. Now I will be talking about something which I do when I am done with the court hearings. Like we every day has an court hearing, but there is a lot of good time when you are free, when you don't have cases, when you are very much open to play with the nature. You go and enjoy some nature walk inside a beautiful national park. So you will be surprised that the Honorable High Court of Jammu and Kashmir, where I practice as an environmental lawyer, has given me the responsibility to be the commissioner, means the amicus curiae, to look after all the wetlands, all the forests, all the wildlife areas, all the tourist areas, all the beautiful and nature reserves. And it is the responsibility from the High Court. And I am the only person who goes to those beautiful tourist destinations, beautiful forests, wearing even a black coat and a tie. Sometimes people laugh
Wow.
at me. They said that, yeah, Pahalgam, you're going and you're wearing a full dress of your High Court and you're not enjoying in water. And I said, I'm there to check whether they're keeping the Pahalgam clean or not. So I cannot go as an family picnic. So
That's
my
great.
picnics are always educational, this experiences, but on the High Court responsibility. Sometimes I skip. I don't inform the government. I don't inform the officers. So I don't tell them I had to go with my family. So it's a responsibility. What I mean to stress upon here. So when I'm off my duty, when I'm off from High Court, it was always a dream that can we create a open air school. Open air means you all are inside classrooms, and that is what I was always feeling कि ये दीवारें हमें क्या बोल रहे हैं. You may have a good charts, you may have a good maps on the walls, you may have a good climate paintings, you may have a beautiful snowscape, you may have a beautiful landscape pictures on your walls, but they actually are walls. You are in a concrete cell which is there by way of a traditional education system. And that's what we never believed in this. We felt at our level that no, schooling has to be on under a tree. It has to be under an open sky. It has to be under a beautiful chinar tree. And that is what we created a concept called the nature school. And trust me, everyone said that, oh, are you going to run a school? I said, no, not at all. But I really want to play my part as an environmentalist, as in someone who believes in sustainability. Can we create an informal school? When we say informal, then they understand, okay, it is not a full-time school. It is a Sunday classes, 4-5 hours. The children come, they enjoy with nature, they play with butterflies, they go and explore the flora, fauna, they go and enjoy with the mud, they go and make their own food, and they discuss something which is like for a normal person says that why these kids are discussing कि पानी के नीचे ये कीड़ा कैसे survive करता है. So this is where you have to answer all those questions to all those beautiful minds that which have the curiosity attached to nature. And this nature school is actually not a full-time school. I know you're already stressed with your homework, with a lot of heavy bag loads of books and almanacs. It's very important that you must not carry a bag on Sunday, except you may have a water bottle, you may have a lunch, which is working lunch, or you may enjoy some snacks, which are very eco-friendly snacks. And that's what you spend Sunday with nature, few hours. And that's what we have named this idea as a nature school. But as professionally speaking, school is itself a place where we have learned, we have explored. But we felt it necessary that for those academic research institutes which are having responsibility of finding the solution to the climate change and climate science and sustainability, then United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and lot many unanswered questions. Who is going to protect Dal Lake of Kashmir? Who is going to protect the Dachi Gam National Park? How many Hangul, which is a red deer species, are found in Dachi Gam? Is there any solution we can increase their population because they're already critically endangered? So these answers are of a scientific temperament, needs thorough research, thorough collaboration, what we call it a multilateral level, a multi-transdisciplinary research will be required. So we felt it necessary that we must create a nature university also. It was 2016 on the Earth Day. Grateful to them, grateful to all of you who have been following our rigorous work on social media, which is just 5%, 98%, 95% is a hard labor attached to the ideas, bringing them into reality. And this nature university is actually an open air university. We call it as an open air campus. We have 4 wetlands around Pampore. We have beautiful forest area. We have beautiful saffron fields, which we call it as kesar or zafran or saffron. And we have breathtaking springs and wonderful landscape. So it is very fundamental that can we convert all these elements into a knowledge source? We sat down with our global partners, we worked with them, we worked with all our intellectual human resource cells, and they came to this idea that yes, there is a possibility without offering a master's degree, without offering any degree which requires an sanction of the government, we can have an informal space. And that is what this idea got into the picture in 2016. And we released the logo, we call it the emblem of the university. And at the same time, in 2020, during the pandemic times, we had a chance to sit down comfortable in terms of the R&D and launch the website, thenatureuniversity.net. So this is a website where you find all these things together. We are now refurbishing it very soon. But fundamentally, why we are so passionate about it? Because we are already planting trees, not in hundreds, but in lakhs. We have already planted more than 2 lakh trees and created our more than 10 forests across the Kashmir Valley. And that is the passion, because if you have a small space, as Harshita was saying about the seed bank, it is very important that monsoon is coming. So we must go for the plantation preparation as of now. We have Jammu area as well, and Jammu is known for the monsoons, and we are now planting 10,000 trees for Shri Mata Vishnu Devi Katra. We have already planted 10,000 trees with our partner, growtrees.com. And this year, we're also planting 10,000 trees in monsoon. So we have completed approximately around 2 lakh trees target. And those trees are now not trees, they're becoming big forests, because from last 10 years, we have been nurturing them, taking care of them, monitoring them, and they are like turning into a beautiful forest. And plantation can be small. It can be even you are planting even a flower inside a flower pot on your balcony if you don't have a land. So please start from today. It's a very important activity. It will connect you with the beautiful nature elements like butterflies, like the honeybees, the bumblebee, and all other things. Then you will have a good time for that. So fundamentally, we are doing afforestation projects. Our target is 1 million trees by 2030. As you know that United Nations have set the Sustainable Development Goals, which have a target up to 2030. But United Nations also launched a decade, which is called United Nations Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. So you should become partners in that. Our organization is the first organization from Jammu and Kashmir, which was selected on the basis of that we will be their implementing partner in one of the areas in Kashmir, which is the Pampur landscape. So you should become UN ambassadors by virtue of following this UN decade on ecosystem restoration. It is very, very important for all of us. We have only 8 years now left to make sure that we contribute towards the environmental sustainability. So biological diversity. See, we live in an Himalayan state. It's a very beautiful, rich in Himalayan glaciers, forests, pasture lands, meadows, wetlands, lakes, rivers, farmlands, agriculture lands. That's what the Almighty has blessed our Jammu and Kashmir with such a beautiful biodiversity thing. And we consider ourselves as custodians, as we call public trust doctrine, which means that the government are not the owners of the natural resources. They are the trustees of the natural resources, and the people are the beneficiaries of those natural resources. So fundamentally, you all across country are going to play a very crucial role in order to spread this environmental ripple effect. And this ripple effect is very, very important. We must understand that when you throw a stone in a river or in a lake, it generates a ripple. And I'm very confident that if I have no qualifications to start a global level platform like Nature University, but I'm glad to share with you that more than 150 advisors all across the world have joined us to be our knowledge partners. And it includes the organizations right from the University of Cambridge. We have a collaboration on saffron with Oxford. So many organizations across the world have joined us. It is very important that the education, see, if I have been given a chance to sit with you all through a digital platform, how beautiful it would be when you all will come with your parents to Kashmir, to Dal Lake, and see our work and appreciate what we are doing for the nature conservation in this part of the world. Equally standing that we all want to sit together and build up a strong ecosystem where it does not have a barrier of states and the territorial boundaries and other part. We all are united for the environmental conservation, climate sustainability, and whatnot, like Harshita said about the permaculture. I am not expert in permaculture, but trust me, I have learned a lot when I was sitting down with my friends and doing something with the culture, which is very much need of an hour. Otherwise, as a lawyer, people may laugh at me tomorrow, playing with the cow dung and then using those earthworms to play an important role. But it is a love and affection and commitment towards nature that we all believe in together. We have started wonderful public awareness programs all across schools, colleges, universities, and I have given promise to the Climate Reality Project India that we will be making 100 green schools in Jammu, Kashmir, and Ladakh. And we have been starting our work from now with the government of Jammu and Kashmir, maybe from the next week. We have already declared 3-4 in terms of their partnership with this project, but they are now learning how we can develop these schools as green schools because it's a new concept in this part of the world. At the same time, we take kids, students, youth to the nature trails. We go to Dachigam National Park, which is one of the pristine national parks we have in Srinagar. So why I'm sharing this information with you all is that we must know that there is an hangul, which is equally endangered as we have the rhinos in Assam, in Kaziranga National Park. We have the tigers, which are facing the lot of challenges in terms of their growth as a national animal. Same way, we have an hangul in Kashmir, which requires your support, which requires your attention, that we equally need to stand together to protect this species. There are just 250 left in the wild. They are already declared as a critically endangered species, and I'm sure Those who have the access to the Facebook, we have a national campaign which is called Save Hangul, Save Tiger campaign. And Hangul spells like Hangul, is a Kashmiri red deer species and very unique in the whole world. So we want you people to understand that we are, uh, trying to learn from all of you, because we don't have an expertise on certain things, but when we sit together and work together in collaboration, we learn from each other. You may have some idea about Nature University, any of your student, any of the school student, any class, it does not matter. You have to do masters or a bachelor's or a doctorate degree. If you have any idea how we can develop the nature school, please help us. We are as navy as students as you people are, so we need to learn from your ideas, your vision. आप कैसे contribute कर सकते हैं towards the larger idea. And more importantly, Dal Lake uh, is my love. I always write on my Facebook, because I have multiple pages, but always write as a starting point that I love, either it is Dal Lake, either it is wetlands, either it is forests. So I want to just create that green heart concept in the minds of people on through even social media. And trust me, when I started this I love campaign with like Dal Lake, I love Dachigam, now we have the beautiful vibrances coming in across the Kashmir. People are not littering now. People are keeping their surroundings clean. They are keeping their lakes clean. So it has impacted people when we have visited hundreds of schools in our 20 years of our journey into this environmental conservation. And I'm excited and honored to now join hands with the Climate Reality Project India. We recently signed a memorandum of understanding कि अब हम यहाँ पर साथ में काम करेंगे कश्मीर में, जम्मू में और लद्दाख में, और we will develop these 100 green schools. And more importantly, Dal Lake related, we are running a campaign which is called a global campaign, Save Dal Lake campaign. So we need you to raise voice from any part of the school country. Any school, any classroom can raise a support for this campaign, and we really want you people to visit this beautiful place on earth called Paradise on Earth, which is Kashmir. We definitely need all of your support. And but the very important point is that, for example, we have a lot of wetlands here, and we observe these international days, like we have the World Migratory Birds Day coming on the 9th of May. Then we have the 22nd of May as an Habitat Day. Then we have the 5th June coming. Then we have the Environment Week coming. Then we have the Tiger Day, 29th July. Then my birthday comes as the 15th of August. So on the Independence Day. So many days we observe. I request all the school management, all the teachers, all the principals, all the faculties to prepare a green calendar. We are doing it at the Nature School. We are doing it at the Nature University. For schools, it is no protocol. We don't tell bachon ko, shh. We tell them you can make all much of noise you can do on the Sundays. But for university thing, yes, we organize certain conferences, certain strong stakeholders meetings. We discuss about the deliberations on the policy papers. So we change the levels. In a one conference room, you may have students playing and painting or drawing and doing something on the day. On the other conference room, somewhere in Srinagar, might be discussing on the policy matters or the high court orders or the judgments. So it's a very important to have a multi-pronged strategy. Not like I'm a permaculture guy, I need to learn now from Harshita. I cannot claim to be an expert. I am just playing with my a little bit of understanding, but I need to learn from Harshita that how we can build up a strong ecosystem in Kashmir and how she can be our advisor to the Nature University, helping us in that. Same way Madhu ma'am, same way Rekha Lala ma'am and Bhivesh, you have been always a support to all of us. So the idea for the students is, can we plant even a flower plant? I'm not of the opinion that we have big trees becoming like a banyan tree, jamun tree, or any other tree. So that tree space might not be there. But if we replicate a small pot, agar wo, like if you have even a chota sa glass, and then you have a small flower coming inside it, and it is like your contribution. My point is that we have to be the change makers. We don't have to wait for people telling us कि हमें क्या करना है, हमें कैसे करना है. मुझे लगता है our ancestors are, they have already given us a roadmap. They are 110% eco-friendly people. They were not polluting our planet. They were not littering around this big, and they were not so educated. Right now, you have people coming from the best of the best colleges, universities, and schools, and still when they eat a wrapper, they throw it on the gate of the school. And that is what is the biggest challenge for all of us as a generation. Can we educate the masses about the larger idea? As now I'm concluding, I have lot of things to share with you all, but 23 years of my hard work or the smart work or the commitment cannot be summarized in 23 minutes. So what I will be concluding with is, with the permission of the chair, my daughter, she is 10 years old. She has a wonderful love for nature, because definitely I'm training her as a green ambassador. She has a Facebook page also called Ayat Kadri Green Ambassador. I was going through my notes, which I have just prepared, and I hope I have done justice with the basic idea of what we do in this part of the world. But while I was checking out my notebook, my daughter, Ayat has wrote something on it. I'm sure I'll be reading it. It's not going to be clear. With the due permission of the chair, I am reading 2-3 lines from what my daughter has wrote of her own. This is not an written script. It is of something which surprises me. I'm going to read it. I am Ayat Kadri, director of the Nature School. I invite all of you to my nature school. I welcome to my nature school. You will enjoy to spend time with us. By the way, she's a third class student, and she has that commitment to this. I am Ayat, the Green Ambassador. We should plant trees more and more, because if trees are not in this world, we cannot breathe. So if a third class student has given us just an homework to do what we have to do in our classrooms, I am feeling proud as a father that my daughter has a clarity in mind that we cannot breathe. Before I conclude, can we even hold breath for 1 minute? We are not professional scuba divers or other thing, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. We cannot. It is very fundamental that these trees, these plants, this love for nature is the fundamental responsibility upon us. We are not doing any favor to Mother Earth. We are not doing any favor to the cosmos. We are the small elements, as Harshita said. We are a small dot on the cosmos of this world. We call it blue dot. And on that blue dot, you only have a 1% fresh water you can drink. And that 1% is still getting depleted because your glaciers in the Kashmir are melting. I must tell you, the water coming from Brahmaputra, our Ravi, our Indus, our Jhelum are drying up because our glaciers are somewhere melting in Himalayas. And the water which goes to the mainland are going to have a crisis tomorrow. So we all have to work together. I think the climate reality must be congratulated for bridging the divide and gap, that we all are united for bringing a common argument that we belong to this blue dot, which is a very small dot on the nebula, on the cosmos, on the world of James Webb telescope pictures. So I'm very confident that if we all will work together, right from this government boys high school or girls school Srinagar, right up to the Coimbatore, and I'm extremely honored that I think the climate reality has succeeded on bridging this divide which was there. Otherwise, we are doing work from last 23 years in Dal Lake, in Dachigam, in our forest, in our mountains, in our landscapes. I think that is very much important, that when you are requested or when you are rather directed to be available, we are volunteers. We are not claimed that we are experts. I am just a catalyst trying to connect government with policy, with high court orders, and with kids. Hundreds and thousands of kids, students, I rather say, have joined our Green Ambassador program. We call it GAP. Any student who does not litter in a school is being given a status of a Green Ambassador. Clear. And all schools, jitne bhi hamare sath affiliated hai, they are not having any official affiliation. We call them as green schools. We call them as in our local parlance. So green schools, man, trust me, many students have turned up into a strong believer of this thought कि सर हम बाकी फ्रेंड्स को भी कचरा नहीं छोड़ने देते हैं, हम बाकी बच्चों को भी बोलते हैं डस्टबिन यूज कर. बाकी बच्चे means a generation of a generation. So it is very important that we all are united. We all believe in doing something for our Mother Earth, whether I am sitting in Pampur or somebody is sitting in any part of the world. We all have to fight with the challenges we are having in front of. And I'm sure United Nations, the global organizations, a small student at the school level has a common agenda and a common goal that we belong to this beautiful Mother Earth. It is our joint and collaborative responsibility. If I'm alone fighting for Dal Lake, today I am not alone. Today I have Harshita, I have Madhu ma'am, I have Rekha ma'am, I have Bivash sir, I have all these kids who will tomorrow come to Srinagar and see what we are doing. But when we are committed for the cause, I think we have succeeded in bringing all the like-minded students, the faculty together. And I'm grateful to all of you for giving me this patient hearing for a few minutes. And I will look forward to receive you in Srinagar. Any teacher, any student's family coming for vacations or coming for holidays or anything by chance to Kashmir, you are going to be our host. And I'm going to be your host, and you are going to be our special guest. So I will take you to certain areas like Dachigam. You will love it, and some beautiful Shikara ride also. Thank you very much indeed. Such a pleasure and honor to get connected and sharing this wonderful time with all.
Thank you, sir. It is a Pandora's box, absolutely, of activities, of beautiful sayings, of welcome, of hosting what you have just said. And oh my God, I'm absolutely dumbstruck. And thank you for being the voice of nature. That's the biggest thing, Nadim, what you're doing.
Thank you,
and in the courts of our country, and you have seeded us right now. I'm, using the words of Harshita, seeded us with the report and the remove concept, what you have just added on, that really adds to it. And yes, the fundamental discipline is very important, even when we are talking about environment. And it's one of the most important. So not taking much of your time, but sending all my love to the little Inayat, the little princess, for the lovely letter, what she has written. And yes, we will all be in Kashmir one day, very soon. And we are going to children write letters. All the Sri Ram school children have written letters.
Yes, Hangul conservation way back. Way back.
Hangul,
that is what has added a value, that the sheep breeding farm, which was there from last 50 years, was removed when we showed those postcards and letters from Sri Ram school to the chief minister, madam. And that is what convinced Madam Mufti that, sheep farm has to go. And we are happy to share with you that sheep farm, which was a 70 years old problem, got solved with the certain letters written by those wonderful kids of Shri Ram School. I must congratulate you.
Thank you. That's a wonderful thing, children. Can you see? It's straight from, you're hearing it from Nadim sir about what has happened, what about the letters which you guys wrote many, many, many years ago. So keep on doing that good work. And I'm going to now hand over to Bhavesh, because yes, we are running out of time. Bhavesh, you need to speak up and tell them and guide them about, what they need to do forward and take it forward as how we are going to work on the projects and what needs to be done. So
thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. And indeed, an enlightening experience coming from Harshita as well as from Nadeem ji. It's all in the heart, what needs to be done. So students, a small presentation from my side as to what should be the next step from our side. I hope you are able to see my screen out there. So it has been 2 days of Young People's Climate Conference. We have been hearing experts, we have been hearing their views, what needs to be done. Climate change probably might be seen a big problem, but when you break it down, you see water issues, you see air quality issues, you see energy wastage issues. We need to focus on them, and that's the task in hand for you. Pick up an area. It can be waste management, it can be biodiversity enhancement, what Harshita said, it can be good health, pollution control, trees, plants, garden, as Mr. Nadeem ji said. Form teams. Teachers, we request you, please make a team of 5 or more students from each class, or probably 2 teams, 3 teams from each class. We don't mind that only one team be formed. Name this a group. They can be water warriors, they can be super energy savers, they can be climate change champions for waste, whatever. And tomorrow on Friday, you and students can brainstorm on the idea that the students want to work upon. Please guide them in terms of logical thinking, in terms of rational projects, based on wherever you are. In Chennai, probably it's water scarcity. So, how we can think of regenerating those lakes, how we can think of seaside management to be taken better, what can be done on those aspects. Students work it out over the weekend. Saturdays and Sundays, interact with your friends, and give a shape to that very idea. Form a 5 to 7 slide presentation by Wednesday to Madhu ma'am. Teachers, that's your responsibility, please. So you all have Madhu ma'am's email ID. Those 5 to 7 slides may be shared with ma'am, with India Climate Reality, whatever you have done in the past. We'll evaluate them and by next Thursday, that's 4th of May, we'll be having these presentations from your side. So they can be 10 presentations, 20 presentations, 30 presentations. We'll be sending it out to the experts, to Harshita, to Nadeem sir, to others who joined us as experts, and see what can be done. How is your idea going to change the world? We are going to share the results on 8th of May. That's Monday. And what's good out there, in case your idea creates that bubble, in case your idea is worth taking forward, you are going to win some handsome prizes from the very management, from the very people, as a token of appreciation. Consider this as a small gift from our side towards you, as you have undertaken this journey, this thought process as what can be done. What's more, we make it even better, even bigger. You compete among the Shri Ram chain of schools. You make yours the greenest campus out there. Let your teachers evaluate. Let's have a brainstorm further. That would be happening in times to come, and you are automatically qualifying for Youth for Earth. Teachers, request you to please take a photo of this or take a screenshot of it, because it has the website address out there, though we have shared it earlier also. But you can take a screenshot. I'll share it in the chat as well before we leave, so you can save it. All your students can register. They are automatically, means we are giving a fair chance out here because students have been interacting with us. So as a special partnership, we are qualifying all the entries that we are receiving by this weekend, by the results that we are declaring for Youth for Earth. And you are getting recognized across India, across South Asia, and getting handsome prizes in tune of 50,000 rupees. So 50,000 rupees for you towards implementing the very river cleaning project, the very waste management project, the very greening project, making kitchen garden project out there, from our side, as a gratitude, as a friendship, as a token of love and friendship to your side. And as Nadeem sir shared over there, just a moment, please. And as Nadeem sir shared over there, it's the association that matters. Whatever you and we together, you and we do together does make a difference. Probably the letters were written 5 years ago, and see how they have changed the landscape now. So probably there are some things that take time, but it's the greener endeavors from your side. कल को जब आप श्रीनगर जाएंगे, आप पंपोर जाएंगे, आप किसी भी जगह जाएंगे, चेन्नई जाएंगे, आपको लगेगा, yes, I played a small part in it. You will become man or woman in times to come, and you should feel proud that we made a difference within our lifetimes for the betterment of Mother Earth. Thank you so much. I'm sharing the email address, the details out here. And Madhu ma'am, you can ask for the photograph by asking them all. And in
Yes.
case anyone has questions, we are more than happy to answer
Yes,
that.
any questions? And we want all of you to please switch on your cameras. We want a photograph, right? Please switch on your cameras.
And Harshita wants to speak something. Harshita ji, you can go ahead just now.
Yeah, and children, please raise your questions. Bhavesh sir is here. You might be having queries. Please come forward and ask.
Yes, so I just wanted to, it was amazing to speak to all of you. I mean, even though, internet and this video conferencing has brought us also closer. Offline classes are a lot more fun as well, but it was such a delight to be present and to be a part of this. You are doing great work. And Nadeem, it was really nice to get to know what you're doing, and it's amazing. I would really like to carry this conversation forward, maybe outside of this bracket. And the thing I wanted to say, like you mentioned about green school, right? Green schools. I don't know if the children already know, but there is a green school in Bali. It's an amazing place to research for. And I would really ask you if you find time, because we all have luxury and liberty of having our own phones, just see what and how they do it and how different schooling can be, because you were mentioning about having these open schools, and that can be so great. It's a great amount of exposure. The other thing is, again, what you were saying about planting a small flower as well. So what I really want to add is sometimes plants die. And that's something I have constantly worked with so many people who have such great fear of planting anything, because they think, oh, if we plant, it dies. So that's a reality, children. Plants die, humans die, we all die. Death is a cycle, So if your plants die, do not get sad. Get sad about it, but don't stop yourself from planting the next one, because you will eventually learn how to plant it the right way. And to start with, if you want to have like small plants in your house, maybe grow your own pumpkin seeds. They are fast to grow. They don't require so much care, and they won't die so easily. So maybe you will harvest your own pumpkins in 2 to 3 months. And then you will be motivated to plant trees which can grow further. So it always starts small. That's important. Big things can be really challenging and can be very overwhelming. Do not get overwhelmed. But being another voice from Mother Earth, I can assure you it's okay if some plants die. When you're trying to learn the process, do not give up because your plants are dying. That's very important. A lot of my clients are very scared of planting because they think they have bad hands.
Our green, the schools
Teachers,
all are
please
green
have
hands.
the screen share, your cameras on.
Please
We want
share
to
your
take a
screen.
photograph.
We need a
Yeah.
photograph.
Everyone. Rohtak.
Yeah, we are ahead of time, much past the time. I'm sorry. We won't want the children to be waiting because we need to board the buses and go for the lunch. So please go ahead, so switch on your cameras. Thank you so much.
Indeed, you're welcome. And in Srinagar, I am just going to be a call away. Madhu ma'am has my number, and he can share my number with any school who wants to come and visit us. Not only to our place like Nature University campus, which is open air, but I will take you to some beautiful places around Kashmir. That's a commitment and promise.
So you're going to be a tourist guide also.
I'm always. I take the black coat and tie away and wear my T-shirt, Save Dal Lake campaign, and go on
Yeah.
telling people that this
You
is
know,
the
it's a
success.
vision, Nadeem, you know, I feel, because I've been in this teaching thing for 35 years, I feel, you know, there should be a school where I can teach all the subjects only through nature and outdoors. And
That's what
been
you
the
are
vision
coming
I think I want
to.
to have it.
That's
I
what you're
wish
coming
somebody
to
would help
join
me
us
on
as
it.
an advisor to the Nature University soon. We are
Great.
sending an invitation.
All
Yeah.
right, great.
Nadeem sir, a question for you, please,
Yeah.
quickly. Yeah.
Can
With a
you just
lot of
repeat it?
FDI coming in J&K, how's the environment is being taken care of? Along with it, why is there no strong law of environment to be taken care of? You may answer.
I have agreements and disagreements. FDI, foreign direct investments, are definitely was always coming in, but with a different perspective. As this will take little bit discussion to the different level, so I don't want to touch the non-environmental line of action here in this conversation. But we need FDIs for Dal Lake conservation. We need FDIs for Udachi Gam conservation. We have very less money coming in from the government of India for the nature conservation. Not even a 1% of what we have. 20,000 square kilometers of forest area we have. We don't have a single penny coming as a carbon credits or a REDD++. So we generate water and we generate electricity also. We want like the money to be spent for reforestation, organizing of the concept of environmental sustainability. FDIs are coming but not directly, so I must be very clear. Yes, there are certain projects which are coming, but they are not too dangerous to the environment as we are keeping an eye. Yes, except certain defense roads which are very important, strategic tunnels which are very important to connect the places, but it has an impact. You have to believe in either on the sustainable development or purely stop the development. So I am of the school that let development also takes place, but at the same time we keep an 24/7 eye from the High Court. That's what the Honorable High Court is closely monitoring, both Ladakh region also as well as the Kashmir region, because we have a common High Court for Jammu, Kashmir UT and the Ladakh UT also. So as an amicus, I am monitoring more than 5,000 crore rupees projects in Jammu and Kashmir. And I'm very confident that if 200 crore were spent on Vellore Lake from the government, we are getting Vellore Lake back to life. So certain positive things simultaneously are happening, but we don't have such big industrial areas because we have most of the area under the forest land. So the conversion is not taking place that much. So not too much of worrying situation, but yes, we have to keep our eyes and ears open. And as a part of the environmental system, we are keeping close eye. I'm confident that we don't have that much of destruction happening by any means. But yes, small developmental projects need to be overridden with the contribution we are also making. We must be balancing the equations, and we don't see that much of threat to the biodiversity or environment as of now. I can speak of 2023. I am not yet in 24 or 25.
Great, great. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Indeed, sustainable development is the key. Unsustainable
I am the advocate of this thought only. I am not stopping any big projects in Kashmir or in Jammu. We believe in that they must join hands.
Chennai team, very quickly. Yeah, last one they should be. Please unmute. Yeah, hurry up.
So as
No.
is going on vacation from 29th of April, how will we submit our presentation by Wednesday?
Ma'am, please
Yeah,
suggest.
that's a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a problem because children are going in for vacations.
So,
Yeah, but
okay,
there
I got the point.
Yeah. We can't hear you.
Tomorrow they can have a brainstorm with the teachers, and presentation can be made over the weekend. Means they can work it out at their homes, share with each other the teams that are being formed via the teachers, and obviously the submission can happen from home also. So I don't think that should be a challenge.
That shouldn't be a problem because it's right now, it's fresh in your minds, you know,
Yes,
and
it's fresh
you need to develop it. There's so many ideas just going around in my mind, you know, right away. And yeah, if I put it to rest, I don't think that action will immediately emerge.
Yes.
So there is so much that you can think about. So just start working. You know, we guys, we need to work. How many hours are there in a day? 24? We need to work 28 hours. Let's be very frank. And it's only then that we can achieve what we want to. All right. So anything else? Thank you so much. So shall we close it, Bhavesh, or any more questions coming in?
Yeah, means questions if someone wants to ask.
Please go ahead with the questions, children.
Yeah. Hurry up. Yeah. Pia Chatterjee, you may. Pia Chatterjee, please unmute and ask the question. Chennai, you have something more to ask? Please put it down in the chat. Okay. So ma'am, I think they can get back to you for questions
right.
and they want to leave. I think
Yeah.
school is getting over. Thank you so much, students. We love the interaction. I think sitting out there, listening to the entire program, waving to us, I think it makes a lot of difference. So can we say a goodbye to each other by waving?
Yes,
Oh,
it's,
wow.
it's a bye,
Or,
and
So we are all
the,
attending
or
to
the
our-
all
slogan
of you
what
a big bye and a
or the slogan what Bittu sir has pushed us for all the generation. Apna farz nibaenge, dharti ko bachayenge.
Exactly.
So this is something very important. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Fine. Let's keep the conversation on, Mr. Kadri, Harshita,
Always.
Madhu ma'am. Let's do it. And thank you,
I take
teachers,
the
for
privilege
coordinating
of
all.
getting connected with Harshita and all of you. I'm sure Madhu ma'am will play a mediator's role in connecting us right now.
Only a mediator's role? No, sir.
No, the principal role. The principal role. So mediators
Teachers for
means
coordinating
Yeah,
it all.
absolutely.
Thank you
yes,
so much.
and all of you are cordially invited to Kashmir. Whenever you are coming, I'll be more than happy to host you. Please.
All right. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Right.
Thank you all.
Fine. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank
Over
you,
and out, I
students.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.